How's it going, everyone? Nick here with HN Entertainment's review for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So this is a movie that I've had to wait a little bit before finally revealing my thoughts for it, and I think that's one of those movies that's kind of flying under the radar in terms of, audience awareness and everything. I think a lot of comic book fans probably know about it, but really aren't, keeping it on their radar. And I think that should be something to change, because this is easily one of the best films of the year, in my opinion, and probably one of the best modern comic book films that we've ever gotten. This is certainly a game changer in the way that Iron Man and the Dark Knight were. And that's a pretty bold statement, especially in a year where films like Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War both came out. So essentially this is Sony's first attempt at doing a Spider-Man animated film with a big budget for the big screen, but this time it's starring and focusing on Miles Morales, who was the Spider-Man introduced a few years back by Brian Michael Bendis in the pages of Ultimate Spider-Man. But this isn't just his story. As the title suggests, we are delving into the Spider-Verse. We're getting different versions of Peter Parker, Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, and more. The film is chock full of references and Easter eggs that fans of the comic books, especially Spider-Man, will definitely pick up on. There's wonderful tributes to everything Spidey, and like I mentioned in my first reaction to the film, I think this is just every Spider-Man fan's dream. This is a true love letter to the character. If you've seen some of the trailers for the film, you'll notice that the villain, or the primary antagonist, is the Kingpin, voiced by Liev Schreiber. There are also a bunch of other villains which I don't want to spoil in this review, but you can definitely spot some in the trailer, like the Scorpion and Tombstone. In terms of the voice cast, everyone really gives a solid performance here, with the standouts being Shamik Moore and Haley Steinfeld as Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy respectively. Jake Johnson also does a really great job portraying a down-on-his-luck Peter Parker, but even more down on his luck than we ever seen him before, because this one is a Peter that has kind of given up on being Spider-Man. He's a 40-something-year-old version of the character who's completely washed up and just kind of given up on being a hero, in which Miles Morales is looking to him for inspiration on how to be a hero. So both of them kind of learn what it means to take on the mantle of Spider-Man and, really inspire other people, which I really enjoyed as part of the aspects of the film. Going back to the visual style and animation for a second, this one has one of the most unique animation styles I've ever seen, and it's really a tribute to the directors and the team behind the film, and also the guidance of Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I think they really went for something out of the box here, and it pays off quite well, because I think it's something that nobody is really expecting, from a Spider-Man film. It definitely feels like a comic book brought to life. So overall, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I have to say that I didn't really have too many complaints for it. I think that the one thing that I maybe could have wanted more from was maybe having the film focus a bit more on Miles Morales, but at the same time, the idea of it focusing on the Spider-Verse at the same time as well, you really do get to learn a lot about Miles, through other characters. So even though it isn't really a full Miles standalone film, you get to see his character front and center, and he's really the centerpiece of the entire story. So it's just a gripe of mine, I guess, had the story focused solely on Miles Morales, I think that would have been something enjoyable as well. But like I said, all of the other Spider characters in here are a ton of fun, and they really complement each other well. Overall, I'm going to give Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse a 9.5 out of 10. Highly recommend that you guys go check it out in theaters. This is definitely something that you should experience on the big screen, and as with all Marvel films, be sure to stick through the credits for some really hilarious stuff. So what did you guys think of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Have you seen it? Have you not? If you have, try to keep it spoiler free down in the comment section for those out there who have not yet entered the Spider-Verse. For more updates on Spider-Verse, Marvel, and everything pop culture, be sure to subscribe to HN Entertainment.